So check it out. I've got a Ford F250 2017 with a 6.7 PowerStroke diesel. So if you are familiar with this engine and you've had yours for a substantial amount of time, you know that the majority of the components in this engine are either aluminum or plastic. So the plastic ones, well, I want to touch on real fast here. I got a lot of issues with the plastic ones. So the fuel filter, which sits right here. So I'm changing the fuel filter one day after a couple years, and this little component right here. This is the return line from the injectors that goes through the filter. And this is the line that is fed into this particular hose right here. And Ford should be ashamed of themselves, man, making this piece of cheap shit plastic. Anyway, over time with the heat, the engine, everything, it gets brittle. So this thing this part right here just snapped off. This one's pretty flexible because it's new. I got it on Amazon just to replace that particular one, but I went to a company called SPE. They make a lot of good products, man, but they're all billet aluminum. So much better product. Not worried about it breaking off and shit like that there when I change the fuel filter in the future. So next plastic line piece of shit, this particular one here, this one right here. So this one here sits just like this here. So this piece of, it's just a T, a plastic T that connects the fluid line coming from the radiator reservoir tank into the heater core and blah blah blah. So anyway, all I did was bump this shit. I bumped it, and this happened. It broke. Actually, it was like this here, flipped over like that, and it broke on this end here. So I looked at it and I said, well, you know, well, I can go to the dealer and get the same piece of shit that they put on here that, you know, it tells you where the engine goes and the radiator and blah blah blah. Fuck that. So I went to the hardware store, picked up a nice little 1/8 inch brass T with 1/8 inch brass nipples inside the hoses here. Something that's going to be durable, and I know the shit ain't going to break again. So they only had one T, so tomorrow I got another one being delivered so I can replace this piece of shit T, because, you know, they're all, you know, part of the same 2017. Now, the last part. I was just driving down the road, and this particular fucker here broke off. This is the one that's going to be a little more expensive, a little harder to work on, and it may look like a little piece of shit to you guys, but I'll tell you what I did under here. So it has that same, almost like this here sticking up from it, little piece of cheap ass plastic went on there. So what I did was I actually went and got a 1/4 inch drill and tap, and I actually tapped in to the system here. Hold on, I don't want you to see what's in my garage. That's none of your business. But I tapped into the line with a 1/4 inch tap. Right? 1/4 inch tap. It's plastic, but you know, I tapped it, threaded it, and I dropped in this particular fitting right here, which is a air hose fitting. But it's screwed right in there, and the hose went right on top of it, and it works perfect. I got a little worried because, you know, it's just plastic and stainless steel there, and I wasn't sure if it was going to hold or not. So I just took some JB Weld, man, and went around the outside of it and molded it around the outside of it. But that shit's solid, man. It's, you can see it's solid. But this is the shit that Ford's putting out right now. You know, you buy a fucking $80,000, $90,000 fucking truck, man, and it comes with all these plastic components. Kind of disappointing. But these are some of the little small changes after having a truck for 3 fucking years, 4 years. Other than that, the truck runs great, you know. A couple other upgrades I'm putting on here, man. The disaster prevention kit. I did do an upgrade on the cold intake. A couple things up under the bottom, deep oil pan, deep transmission pan. But it's got 102,000 miles on it and runs like a top. But it's just these little pieces here now that are starting to fail every time you just bump them. You ain't got to fucking do nothing to them, just bump them, and they fucking break, man. So, you know, I put the this brass tee on here, and actually it looks like, to me, it's a much better fit. You know what I mean? Doesn't look bad. It's solid. Like I said, I'm gonna replace this one here tomorrow. That one over there, that part over there where, you know, I did the JB weld or whatever. It doesn't, you know, it's not the most appeasing look, but I feel more secure with it. I don't think it's going to ever pop loose. I don't think it's going to ever come off. If it ever does, and I'll just replace this whole line right here and the whole assembly, you know, in the future. But other than that, you know, you got a bunch of plastic components. You got to be careful that, you know, if you move this or touch that, or with the heat of the engine, you know, over in the summers and the things like that there, this shit just gets brittle and bad looking, you know. But anyway, that's my story. I'm still a Ford man. Anyway.